there wasn't an imprint was to slide their hand under the heat shield to feel them. Now, how you can do that with a hot motorcycle is questionable to me. How you can do that on a motorcycle or a car, for that matter, that's had its exhaust replaced is a question that I would have for you as well. Honda Goldwing motorcycles have the imprint on them. You have to remove the rear fender to get to it. There was in Virginia, happened to be, this ordinance was attempted to be passed. They were going to confiscate the motorcycles until they could disassemble the motorcycles to look for that particular imprint. Clearly, what this says to me is it's not an enforceable ordinance. Unless you want the police officers to lay on their backs, put their hands up under the motorcycle, and sit on the side of the road for an hour until the bike cools down. Another question that I would have for you is, like I said, we're not in favor of noise, but I'm not in favor of people driving by North Street, my house, with all of their Benevento trucks, making all the noise that they do, with all of the landscaping trucks, with the people who cut their lawns at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning for 3.5 hours. So if we only look at motorcycles, if we look at passing an ordinance only for motorcycles, when do you look at the lawnmowers? When do you look at the cars? When do you look at the Honda Civics that have mufflers that do not have this imprint? Because again, if it's not original equipment of the manufacturer, that imprint is not there. On my motorcycle, I do not have that imprint as far as I know. I've never taken off that heat shield. What I have done on 3 separate occasions is gone to the Massachusetts Motorcycle Association voluntary sound check. In each of those 3 times at 4,500 RPM, the motorcycle has passed the state mandated regulation of 83 decibels. So if my motorcycle passes a state regulation, and as far as I know, and again, I'm not an attorney, as far as I know, the state has the right to regulate and to license motor vehicles, not the town, the state. So if I am meeting the regulations of the state, how can the town put in an ordinance that overrides what the state has to say? So just because I don't have a sticker, I'm still meeting what the state of Massachusetts says I need to in terms of noise. So to me, this isn't a noise ordinance, it's a sticker ordinance. Because it would be very, very easy for me to put my stock pipes back on the motorcycle, and in about 2 minutes, remove a baffle, and be the loudest motorcycle you'll ever hear in this town. But if I were to be pulled over by the police department, and they were not to have a decibel meter to check me, I don't get a ticket. So my bike's louder than a bike that doesn't have an imprint, but I don't get a ticket because I have an imprint. So you can see sort of where the dichotomy lies there, where, again, it just doesn't seem to me to make sense that because you have a sticker that's valid for 1 year on a new motorcycle, how does that carry over to a motorcycle that's has had a exhaust replaced, and moreover than that, a motorcycle that meets the state of Massachusetts requirement for noise emissions. If I meet that, why do I have to meet a sticker regulation or an imprint regulation? As you know, the city of Boston is currently involved in a lawsuit. They have been quote-unquote put on notice by the judge in that lawsuit that they will be responsible if they're found to be in the wrong for all of the legal fees and all of the tickets that they've written out, although it appears none have been written yet. And then finally, what I would say is, the issue is not solved by having a sticker on a bike, it's solved by education. What the town of Salem, or the city of Salem has done is worked with the police department and the Mass Motorcycle Association to educate riders on motorcycle noise abatement. We do a lot of poker runs out of the North Reading Moose. We tell everyone before they leave that place, they're not to rev their motors when they leave for our neighbors who are next door. We've never had a complaint in the years that I've been up there from the people next door to us about the noise of the motorcycle. The noise of other things, yes, but not the noise of the motorcycle. So in summary, I again would just say that, again, if we're looking to regulate noise, then we should have our police officers enforce the state law on motorcycle noise. Not because you have a sticker on your motorcycle, you're assumed to have a quiet motorcycle, because that's clearly not true. And I will guarantee you, if folks begin to get tickets because of that, they will go to court, just like they did in Hingham, like they've done in Sterling, like they did in Portland and Virginia Beach, and they will beat those tickets. And it will be a waste of their time, it'll be a waste of our money, and it'll be a waste of my time. So, thank you very much, I appreciate it. And again, thanks for having me speak to you, and, all due respect with the letter that I wrote the other evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Next item on our agenda. Any other people here for public comment? Okay. Legal bills for July 2009.
Board members, the legal bills that are before you this evening for legal services through the end of July. You'll note in perusing the case history, there's a couple of major cases. One of them is an arbitration action involving the Public Safety Department. That matter has been concluded, so we do not anticipate there will be any further expenditures, and that is the suspension, demotion, appeal by the police union. The last additional item that we also do not expect that there will be any additional activity on is the appeal of the Center Cafe of the ABC liquor license application. It should be noted that a portion of the cost on the labor issue involving the police department, we've encumbered monies from last fiscal year because that's when the case was presented to the arbitrator. So there'll be only a modest impact on the budget for this fiscal year. I would recommend that you so approve the legal bills for the month of July.
Any questions regarding the legal bill?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve legal bills for July 2009 in the amount of $17,887.30 as follows. Complement and Page, PC General, $7,194.30. Complement and Page, PC Labor, $10,200, and Complement and Page, PC Water, $293. Again, for a total of $17,887.30.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yule, second by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Next item on our agenda is review of the central polling place parking plan, and I guess now you have a new challenge, Barbara. Two more elections. We need to, in October, we'll need to make a budget adjustment. I'm assuming you're putting the numbers together?
I do have them with me tonight. I'll stay around to articles.
Why don't you come forward and,
Do you want that now? Or do
no,
you
no,
want
I
the
mean,
polling?
we're gonna talk about the, central polling place. What?
It'll be a surprise.
Good evening.
Hey.
I'm sure you guys have these, but this is just the overlay of the site that we're talking about.
Thanks,
This was originally proposed, I believe, back in March. Was it May? Excuse me. And basically, just a little bit of background, we were actually, the police department was actually excited about the prospect of the centralized voting because it would actually benefit us to focus in on one area than obviously they have 3 areas in town to worry about. We looked at a couple of different things. Obviously, the parking is the biggest issue. I don't know if this is going to be big enough.
Scotch tape.
Might-
Just don't pass it. Yeah, some Scotch tape, that's all.
Want me to hold it? This is just a blow of what I already gave you. What's outlined in black is the whole site. It's a very large site, as you can see. Everyone knows where it is. The central voting location we're gonna take right in this place, right in this area here. Now, Barbara, you had talked previously about splitting the precincts into 2 different locations. One in the new classroom area.
No, that is not the plan that was approved by the selectmen.
Okay, it's all gonna be in the
All in
hall
the parish hall, all 4 precincts.
what we looked at is actually divide the site up into 3 usable lots. The west lot, the rear lot, and the east lot. The main parking area is gonna be in the east lot. That is the biggest area on site. The normal route of traffic is off of Winter Street, opposite the Stop and Shop side entrance, around the building, and again, heading south. What our proposal is,
Superseded by tax.
what our proposal is where you see the yellow highlight is actually block off that entire area. And the reason why we want to block off that entire area is we don't want to allow for any stacked parking at all. Because although it works for a church environment where people leave all at the same time, it's not going to work for an election where people aren't leaving at the same time. And even when there's only 2 precincts there and we don't block off the center, we still have issues
Yes, we do.
with double parking. It happens every election. So our proposal is to block this area off with cones, barrels, tape, and whatnot. Don't allow the stacked parking. What it's doing is taking the 220 available spots on the east lot and actually cutting it down to approximately 80. We have to subtract at least 10 for handicap parking. So it's gonna be 70 usable spots on the east lot. We would be asked that all election employees park to the rear of the facility, to not clog up this main parking area. The overflow area and volunteers, political volunteers, sign holders, and overflow would be in the west lot. We would not subdivide up this west lot to the same, blocking up the center. We would allow for somewhat double parking, presumably those people that are holding signs, if anyone was blocked, would be in that area to move a car. We don't want to be too restrictive in that area. This is our concept for lack of a better term, the normal election. So the medium to low voter turnout. The high voter turnout, basically an unknown.
All bets are off.
All bets are off. We're very concerned about pedestrian traffic utilizing the Stop and Shop lot. On big church service days, Easter, Christmas, this parking lot is full of churchgoers. A lot of pedestrian traffic in this area. That's usually on a Sunday or holiday. This is gonna be during the week on the main road during commuter traffic. So we're very concerned about pedestrian traffic during a major election and Stop and Shop. And if this facility is full, we're also concerned about political volunteers utilizing the Hefner property or the coffee shop on the corner or even kids. Although there is sidewalks, but we're concerned about people crossing the street.
Sergeant, can you, based on using the, I think you said the east lot, is that what you call it?
This is the east lot.
Okay. What's the traffic flow to the parking spaces?
We looked at it the 2 ways into this area. We looked at it as, because these hash marks are going the opposite way.
Right.
So there's a conflict with the markings on the road. But if we were to have the vehicles actually make this, like a rotary, we're creating more traffic up in the back corner we don't want to do.
Yeah.
So we would suggest adding signage in this area to inform the voters to park against the hash marks, the opposite way of the hash marks. We'll even put what we call dummy vehicles, already just a couple lined up to kind of follow the leader to fill in those spots. But we don't want to have to.
Yeah, no, okay, I understand.
And currently there's a jog in the building that is potentially a blind spot. We're concerned about big pedestrian traffic. We were suggesting that we potentially put in temporary crosswalk signs or even temporary speed bumps in that area. We've never had an issue with speeding in the past, but we're now adding 4 precincts where there was 2. So we want to take every precaution we can for the pedestrians, the election employees to the rear, and entrance and exit to the polling station.
Mr. Vino?
Sarge, if I could,